evening, everyone. A very, very warm welcome to you all. It's nice to see you all here tonight. So the format for the evening, we have Pooja from Awaz FM Radio, who's kindly, generously given her time to us, and she will be interviewing Sister Jenti and Sister Shivani. Sister Jenti is the European Director of the Brahma Kumaris. She has been practicing for over 40 years. She's sitting here in the center. And she's, as I say, the European Director of the Brahma Kumaris. And she has an extremely gentle voice, but very powerful, and her wisdom has helped hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people in her travels throughout the world. And Sister Shivani has come all the way from Delhi to do this Awakening with Brahma Kumaris tour all over the UK, and she's a hugely sought-after speaker and is also very clear about the wisdom she shares. She actually has a background in engineering, and she has a very simple way of analyzing the root of problems. So we're looking forward to hearing tonight. Thank you all very much.
I would like to take this opportunity to thank you. You are gracing us with your presence. Thank you very much. And as Rose mentioned, today's theme is finding solution to life's problem. And in my opinion, I believe, and I think most of the audience do agree with me, life in itself is very complicated and challenging. So what's your opinion on that?
It's true. But before we begin with the subject, I'd just like to share an expression, a greeting of peace. Om Shanti. Om, I am, Shanti, peace. And yes, life is challenging, and maybe each generation has felt that life gets more and more challenging as time goes on. But I do feel that we are facing very, very challenging situations, especially now at this point in human history. But I think that human resources can be developed to a point where we enjoy the challenge and we see it as a game and we don't find it a problem.
Okay. So as we mentioned, in Scotland, particularly in Glasgow, there are loads and loads of problems. First of all, no one can predict Glasgow's weather, and no one can predict who's going to win the football match. But apart from that, there is so many problems like unemployment, obesity, drug addiction. So do you think we can solve these problems through meditation?
Oh, Shanti, good evening. You have a whole list of them, don't you? And not necessarily they're only in Glasgow. I think these challenges are everywhere. Weather is becoming very unpredictable everywhere, actually. And there is a whole shift in the way things are happening everywhere, and that applies all over the globe. And yes, like you said, can meditation do anything about them? No. Meditation can't do anything about the weather, but yes, meditation can change my mindset about the weather. Earlier, I could just keep on grumbling day in and day out about the weather. Why is it so hot? Why is it so cold? Does it have to rain? Does it have to snow? I can just go on and on grumbling about something which is not in my control. So the weather, I understand, is not in my control. The economic situation and the other things, the football match, also again not in my control. But whether I have to go on getting irritated with every change that takes place, that is definitely in my control. So meditation doesn't work on the situation, meditation doesn't work on the opposite person, but meditation gives me the power to face the situation with stability and to understand that the external situation is not in my control. So why should I go out of control trying to control something which is not in my control?
So, as you mentioned, with meditation, we can control everything. So, do you think we can gel meditation,
With meditation, we cannot control everything.
but we can think
Yeah.
in a positive way?
Absolutely.
So, do you think we can gel meditation and yoga together and overcome all our problems?
Yoga is actually connection, a link. But today, in today's terminology, we have relate yoga with physical posture. I don't know what it's like here, but in India, yoga is becoming the in thing. Whether you call it hatha yoga, you call it pranayam, and which is very, very useful. People are experiencing wonderful results with that. But it works on my physical health, which is very important. And meditation works on my emotional health. So it's not that should I do this or should I do that. Both are important. One for my physical health. But what I also understand is that how much ever I take care of the body, if the mind is not healthy, then the body still is not able to cope up with it. And we understand today that most of our diseases are due to mental illness, some kind of stress or depression or pain. It affects the organ in my body. Yes, the physical exercise helps to maintain it, but still if I could also take care of the mind, then the result would be wonderful. So meditation and yoga, or what we say, meditation and pranayam, both is equally fine. But we understand that it's mind over body. There is a little confusion about this sometimes. Some people say, healthy body, so then you will have a healthy mind.
Yes.
If my body is healthy, I will automatically be happy. So is that okay?
Yeah.
No, we think the other way around.
Okay.
Healthy mind
Is healthy body.
helps the body to be healthy, because pain, stress affects the organs in my body.
So, can you give us some tips to how to have healthy mind?
How to have healthy mind?
Yeah, because in today's situation, we are thinking about our jobs, our kids, and our family, our relationships. So how we can have healthy mind in that situation?
Okay. We have to think about them. We are going to think about our job, our family, our relationships, but what are we going to think about them is important.
Yeah.
It's not that meditation doesn't mean stop thinking about all your roles and responsibilities and just sit in silence and just think about yourself. That's not meditation. Meditation is basically a technique which helps me to create the right thoughts in every situation. Like you said, job is a problem. So now if I go to work every day, it all depends. I am going to go to work, but what kind of thoughts I carry with myself to work. Is it that every morning I create a thought, oh, again I have to go to work, oh, the same boss, the same people, oh, will I have my job or will they ask me to leave today? I'm still going to work, you see? But my attitude, my perception towards what I'm doing is not very healthy. And then that creates an aura around me, a negative aura, and I go to work. Then the people I work with, what kind of thoughts I create about them. I don't like my boss. He is nasty. My boss should change. If my boss changes, my life will be so beautiful.
That will be
I
so
still
great.
have to work with the same boss. But my way of thinking about him. So then it is, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. And then life becomes a burden, and you say, I have to do so many things. But meditation helps me to change my approach towards it. It's not that I have to do this, I want to do this.
All right.
I have a choice in every situation. The boss will not change, but maybe I can change the way I think about him. Because if I change the way I think about him, the only person who benefits
Is me.
is me. I will like to go to work the next morning. It's the same world. It's the same family, the same husband, the same children, and the same boss. It's me. which matters, the way I look at each one of them. And that's what makes the world either a beautiful place for me, or that world, the same world is a burden, and it's like, how's life? Oh, it's going on. Chal raha hai,
Chalne do.
not enjoying life. So, and then we wait for situations to change so that we can be happy. But meditation says, irrespective of any situation.
So meditation can help us out in so many things. So can any layman can do meditation, or is there any special technique? You have to go somewhere in the mountain and sit there and do some kind of thing?
Meditation is actually something that in a way everybody does naturally, automatically anyway. When you have a quiet moment and you sit and reflect about what the day is going to bring at the start of the day or at the end of the day, you have a chance just to be quiet again and you reflect on what's happened through the day. So that opportunity to be able to go inside and reflect, that actually is meditation. And so it's something that's very natural and very easy for absolutely everyone. But what we're saying is that maybe there can be something more specific within the meditation. And if I can turn my thoughts inwards and leave the world out there for just a few moments and just see what's going on in my own inner world. I'm not trying to stop my thoughts. I'm not trying to focus on a word or a scripture or an image or anything like that. But very naturally, instead of letting my thoughts go in a dozen different directions, I'm letting my thoughts move to the awareness of the inner being. And the question I ask myself is the eternal question we've always had, well, who am I? Where have I come from? And just asking those questions by themselves might take thousands of years to answer, but Raj Yoga meditation offers some ideas. And the suggestion would be that in meditation, you reflect on these ideas, the awareness of the self as a spiritual being, a soul, to think about that dimension beyond this physical world where we came from to play our part on the world stage. So that is meditation, letting my mind move, but letting my mind move in the direction of truth, to let my thoughts go in the awareness of eternity. And that is then meditation that then leads to the stage of yoga, union, communion, communication, connection with the divine. And so meditation is a method to be able to come to that experience of the divine within my own life.
So as you mentioned, with meditation, we can take our mind to somewhere else. So is meditation that strong that we can tell our mind to go this direction or that direction? Can a person like me, who is juggling between jobs and housework and everything, can I do that?
In fact, meditation means taking charge of what's going on in my own mind. And so what I'm doing then is learning how to use the energy of my mind where there's a need. Because a lot of our energy gets dissipated because things that I don't need to be thinking about, for example, if we're sitting here and instead of being focused here, I can see everybody is focused here. But say, for example, if you're thinking about the television program that you missed tonight, then that energy is going to create a very different vibration. And so just simply learning to be in the present and focus on what it is that's important for me at this moment means that if my mind is focused, then my life is going to be moving in the right direction and flowing in the right way. And so meditation is part of the process of understanding where my thoughts are coming from and how in the awareness of my own spiritual being, I can then channel my energy. One of the big errors in life has been we've forgotten about our spiritual identity and we focus just on the physical identity, gender, nationality, race, color. Many of the problems you mentioned earlier actually relate back to this directly Because when I shift from that belief system, that paradigm that I am this, and I come to a different paradigm of the eternal self, then I know that my thoughts are my creation. In the awareness of the body, where are my thoughts coming from? I think they're coming from out there, but they're not. They're coming from within. But in the awareness of I, the soul, then I know that my thoughts are my treasure. I can use this treasure in a beautiful way, in a worthwhile way, instead of allowing it to go to waste or allowing it to go in a negative direction. So meditation means understanding what's going on within myself.
Okay, let's move to the theme. And at present, I think the biggest crisis we are facing is our economy. And most of us don't want to forgive our bankers. I believe you guys go with that. And after bankers, we don't want to forgive our MPs. But by the next election, we might vote for the same MP. But if we see on the personal level, we find it very hard to forgive someone, those who have done something wrong to us. On personal level, we find it very hard. But in your opinion, how we can forgive someone and be calm and positive in today's situation?
I'd like to go back to the first point that you started with.
Crisis.
Yes. And I think one of the things that happened last year, this year, it continues, is that people began to see that it wasn't just an economic crisis, but it was actually a crisis of values. I think that until then, people would not have acknowledged that the Western world in particular is facing a crisis of values on the scale that it is. I would have said that a long time ago, but now I saw it being published in the press. I was hearing people talk about it, and it was acknowledged very clearly. It's a crisis of values. And okay, so there were a few people who carried responsibility. But if we look at the subject of values, then we see it's a global crisis, and it affects every single one of us. Day to day, I'm faced with a choice. Which values do I follow? And is it convenient to follow truth? Or is it not convenient to follow truth? And so I'm contributing to the crisis of the world. I can't say that the crisis is out there and I'm not part of it, but my own life and my own behavior is very much a contribution to that also. And so when I begin to understand this, and I see that it's not that they're the problem, but we're all part of the same situation, then I say, well, what can I do about this? Well, I can't change the bankers or the politicians overnight, but what I can do is change myself. And I believe very deeply that if I begin to follow the deep spiritual values that each one of us actually holds within ourselves, there is something within us that is there that tells us what is true. There is something within us that tells us what is integrity. And yet, of course, it becomes convenient not to follow those values. And if tonight I make this personal commitment, I'm going to listen to my own inner voice of conscience, and I'm going to follow that voice of conscience in my life, I would begin to see a difference happen even within a day. And definitely that would impact people around me, whether at home, at work, my neighbors, everyone. And we would start shifting things in the right direction. When we just simply talk about problems, then our head is caught up in all that negativity. But if we start looking at, well, how can we resolve the situation, then we begin to find the solutions. There was a very interesting quote that I read from Einstein, and he said that if you try and solve problems in the domain of problems, you can never find the solution. What you have to do is to go above the domain of problems, then that is the domain where you will find solutions. So meditation is helping us do that, go up above, and then be able to see what it is I can do for my own life and others around me.
And the next question is how we can forgive someone and be calm in today's situation, so today's circumstances.
How should we forgive someone? Are there quite a few people on the list of your mind whom you have to forgive? Are there? Yes? Are there people who have hurt us, cheated us? They could be the ones you mentioned, or they could be the ones in my very close circle. And now I have a choice, right? Whether I hold it against them, keep on creating the pain again and again of something that has gone, it's over, it's past, or I can just let it go. But the important question is, who do I have to forgive? I have to forgive the one who has hurt me, right? I have to forgive the one who has hurt me. I personally feel, for me, the one who hurts me is actually just myself. The politicians, the bankers, they're sitting wherever they're sitting. They're doing whatever they're doing. Right or wrong is not the question, but they definitely don't hurt me. But when I go on and on and on, thinking about them, thinking about what they've done, thinking about what's going to happen to me, what will happen to me, what will happen to my family, when I am creating the wrong quality of thoughts, then the only one who's hurting me is me, myself. It's only me, myself. They've done what they have to do. People in my family, in my office, somebody's trying to, do some internal politics, someone's trying to go ahead, pushing me aside. They're doing what they have to do. Not that we just sit back and say, okay, go and do whatever you want to do. We take proactive action, whatever has to be done. But the important is, what do we do here? What kind of thoughts am I going to create here? So I personally feel there's no one that we really have to forgive except for ourselves, because the only one who hurts me is me, myself. When I go on and on, like we used to hear about physical abuse. Someone tries to commit suicide, someone slits their wrist, and try to do all these kind of things. And we would say, how can you hurt yourself? Who would ever do that? Do this to yourself. You've gone and cut yourself. And every time when we create all these thoughts, we need to ask ourselves, how can you hurt yourself? You are hurting yourself again and again. So forgiving someone is not so much about that person, but I understand that when I let it go from here, it's I who will feel comfortable. A few days back, I met a young brother who hadn't spoken to his mother for many, many years because of some internal conflict in the family. And at the end of the program, he came and said, my mother is in a lot of pain, I am in a lot of pain, my wife is in a lot of pain, my children are in a lot of pain. I said, reason is I haven't been talking to my mother for a very long time. I said, so simple, just go and talk to her. He said, no, I'm not going to go and talk to her. I said, well, you don't know what she has done to me. I said, whatever she has done to you. But if you want to free yourself from pain, it's only in your hands, like this, and it's over. Otherwise, your choice, continue living with it for however long you want. And the day you want to get rid of it, it's only in your hands. Earlier, we used to think the other person has to do something. My mother has done something wrong to me, so my mother has to do something so that I will be free of pain. No one has to do anything. And that evening, he really went back after the program to his mother, and the next day the whole family came. And they said, oh, it was so simple. But years of who will do it first? The only one who wants to be without pain, please go ahead and do it first. It's very simple. What we don't realize is that when we hold things against someone, it's first causing a lot of damage here inside. It's resentment, it's hatred. It would affect my physical costume. It will affect my relationships. And it doesn't affect only that particular relationship.
But is it okay to be angry sometime?
I don't know, it's your choice. It's like saying, is it okay to fall ill once in a while? If you wish to, and then decide how often. You just have to decide how often you want to fall ill and then keep a parameter and fall ill that many times a day.